So, hi everybody. Welcome to the Wine Podcast from janeanson.com. We are here today to talk about the future of wine communication, winemaking, with somebody who has a particularly interesting and unusual kind of perspective. So, Laurent, David, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. How are you today? I believe you're joining us from Paris.
I join you from Paris and need to visit my customers and talk to them, sometimes. So yes, hot Paris today.
Yeah,
June
I'm
20.
sure. So your very first statement tells us just a little bit about why you're such an interesting person to talk to. Your background actually is from the technology industry, not the wine industry. So you actually launched right back in 2007, 2006 maybe, the iPhone, the first iPhone coming into France. You were there on the Champs-Élysées when it launched, and you stayed with Apple until, well, for another 10 years or so. Can you tell us why you left Apple and what made you kind of come into wine?
I mean, Apple is just a fantastic company, and I'm still a big fan. But after 11 years of each year launching an iPhone, and just from Paris to London, where I moved to my family, that was okay. I don't need to do a 12 or 13 iPhone. It was okay for me. Time to do something different. And I had the Vines who called me back from my region. I'm from Bergerac, not from Bordeaux. And definitely, I always enjoyed great products, and wine, I think, was a better product than iPhone.
Was there a particular wine? Was there like a day when you thought, this is what I want to do? I want to start making wine.
It took me, 10 years to find the right wineries. But as far as I remember, since I was 7 years old, my grandfather, I'm not from a wine family, but my grandfather in Bergerac had a small few rows of vines, and each year we were all gathered to make the family wine. It was not a great wine, honestly, but it was a great moment. And each year in September, I escaped school for one day. I had all my cousins with me, my uncles. I was scratching, grapes, and it was fantastic. I remember the flavors of the fresh grapes, the juice that was, sticky, the bees. And everybody was just happy, laughing. And I said, okay, this is cool. I want to do that for my life. I want to make people happy, and wine is great. So since then, I've kept on repeating, when I will be grown up, I'll do my wine. And I think at the age of 45, it's my daughters told me, but Dad, you're old enough. You're grown enough. Now you can do your wine. And that's why we left London, and we went back to Bergerac in Bordeaux, and I studied at Château Edmus.
Thank you. And from, I would say, the launch, and no doubt before the launch, you had in mind the kind of user experience focus that you had learnt with your 15 years at Apple. And you also worked with Steve Jobs. So could you maybe talk to us a little bit about the learnings that you took from the technology industry, specifically from Apple, and even before you opened the doors of the winery? What was it that you wanted to recapture?
I think, Apple is just a fantastic company to learn a lot of things. And what I keep from that is that the obsession of details, the obsession of making product great, making the best product ever. So this is the mantra of Apple. And the way to do it is always the famous think different. I think we all remember that one. But that is such a fantastic approach. I mean, we can't change things repeating the same procedures all in all. We have to look with a fresh approach. And I think this was kind of disruptive approach that was in my blood, in my DNA, that I kept and I tried to inject in what I'm doing every day. So this is very important. Product obsession, that's the most important. And then, do it differently. And I think that's probably needed today in the wine world, have a different approach. And we're probably in a kind of crisis. And it's probably time to rethink a little bit, all our traditions and things we used to do, and try to find something different.
And one of probably the most clear way that you have done that is from the beginning, thinking of Edmus as a collaborative project, not just meaning collaborative in your team, but meaning collaborative with your customers. So maybe, I guess, actually, first of all, why Saint-Emilion? Why did you end up at that specific winery? And then what does it mean to you to be collaborative with your customers?
Saint-Emilion, I mean, being from Bergerac, which is, an hour away from Saint-Emilion, in my family, there was always a Saint-Emilion bottle of wine on a Sunday on the table. And definitely this is probably the greatest wine I've been enjoying years after years and understanding the evolution. So, I mean, for me, Saint-Emilion is a big and strong brand. Working for Apple, I know the power of brands, which is a signature and a responsibility as well. And I really wanted to be endorsed with something that was already at a great level to go to the next level. So Saint-Emilion was perfect for that, number one. And this one's Edmus, it took me, I think, 8 to 10 years to find the right winery where we can find this opportunity for growth. And I knew the wines of Château Edmus since 2014. The winemaker behind Stéphane de Renoncourt is a superstar. Is just a genius. The team there was great. They made great work on the vines, on the wine, but nobody knew about it. It was like, the Sleeping Beauty. Nobody knew about that wine, and we had to inject some, different approach to make it known and to keep on improving the quality and to go probably on another route. So you pointed out, I said we because I don't think wine is a one-man show, a one-woman show. It's a collaborative approach. There's so many, different decision points you have to take when you require an extra expertise that getting that in one person alone, that's impossible. You can't be the greatest in the vines, then in the cellar, then managing the company, managing the team. I mean, that's impossible to do everything with one person. So, I decided to team up with the best people in the world, in this world. And Stéphane de Renoncourt is one, and we have several other people. And I see me more as a kind of a player in the field or a coach, organizing it, giving the right direction of where I want to go and making sure people can execute to do the wine I want. And then, so that was number one approach. Number two, I needed some funding. It's super expensive land over there. And I had to raise money. And this is what I learned also from my previous tech world. The crowdfunding, so-called, helps you to get money, but not only it helps you to get people support, people help. And I formed a group, I call them the wine angels, so the business angels of the wine, not rocket science. And but that was amazing. We had this campaign, we had 178 people to apply. I had only 31 seats, and I managed to have people from all over Europe, and one from China, one from US, other winemakers from Burgundy, from Languedoc. I got 2 people from the UK, 2 from Belgium, 1 from Italy, and it goes from 28 to 65, different type of profiles, and definitely the link between all of us is the product and what the product means, i.e. sharing. That wasn't the values. That the values is important, and wine is all about sharing. So I managed to form that team, the first round, and build the cellar, build the first different wine, and then we extended it to another type of customer. We have the Club Edmus allocation club members. Basically, you buy 6 bottles and you're part of the club for 1 year. And those people, I get connected every day on my iPhone. I got them on WhatsApp. I meet them regularly. I invite them to the cellar. I ask their opinion. They voted for some cuvées, for some names, from some labels. Do we do a white wine or don't we do it? This kind of thing. And definitely, I think, 32 smart people is better than one. And then 232 is much better than one for sure. So
I think I would like to underline here for people who are listening that where this is so different from the wine world is you are recognizing that the people who follow your wine are not just passive consumers. They have knowledge, they have market expertise, they have a background that can be genuinely helpful to taking things forward. And that is perhaps quite revolutionary in the way that not just Bordeaux, but in the way that most traditional wine regions think of themselves as being the producers, and it's one-way traffic of sending the wine out. Now, you have also, you are president of Wine Tech. That's an interesting kind of group of startups who work in wine. So maybe tell us a bit about that. And What ideas do you get from that, or what ideas can you see coming through wine tech which you think might be helpful for wine producers who are in trouble, struggling right now?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. This is super important. And I can see, I mean, you have a different position in Bordeaux. You're inside, so you know what's happening and you see all those details. And thank you for asking that question. Definitely, innovation is needed in the wine world. We need to do things differently. And where is this innovation going to come from? Inside, maybe not. Maybe outside. I mean, the true, true changes, true revolutions, and usually it comes from small companies moving fast, having one idea, pushing it to the maximum. We call them startups. And this is probably what has changed, the hotel industry, the car industry. We see many new players coming and disruptive the market. Startups are very good for that. So that's a legacy from my previous job at Apple. I used to work with a lot of startups. Apple as itself, I think, is a big startup, but they keep this innovation DNA. And what I see coming from this wine tech, so this non-profitable organization, we call it La Wine Tech, we have 130 startups now coming from all over the world, and they all want to find proposed solution for the wine world to do things differently. So I see a lot of new things coming. A couple of years ago, we see the blockchain and NFT coming, impacting the world. I myself made some tests that were successful at the time. Great stuff. Now this is changing, and this is probably now evolving to something more comprehensive, because technology as such, people don't understand the value of it if you can't demonstrate it in a concrete way. So this is now becoming more like the passport, the digital passport of a bottle of wine. Everybody understands that. You don't have to tell much more about explaining of a non-fungible token. Nobody cares. So this has already impacted the wine world. But what I see now more coming and having a big impact is everything around AI. AI is everywhere. AI is coming to the wine world. It has impacted every industry. And we're looking to help winemakers in La Wine Tech to use AI well. Just give you an example, just doing a new label. You can try to draw it yourself, or use your daughter, as I am doing, to do so. Hey, Charlotte. But it's difficult. It's difficult to design a new label and get great ideas, and AI can help you to do that. And then you can refine it, work with professionals. That's one. You have every month as a winemaker, you have to go to the customs to declare the amount of wine you have, and it's a lot of paperwork. AI can help you to do that. Communicating on social networks, AI can help you to do that. I mean, all those tools are great tools for winemakers to save time and be more in the vines or in the cellar to do the wine. So yes.
And do you think right now they're being failed by the organizations who are not telling them these things, not maybe helping them realize how easy it is to do these things?
Yes and no. I think winemakers, wine is a continuous innovation process. You can visit every winemakers. I mean, you know that in Bordeaux, you've seen it from inside. And there's always something new they're testing here and there, new vines, new barrel, new something. And so, I mean, we have, in the wine world, we have one chance a year to do a new product. In the tech world, you can do software update every week. But that wine is different. So you need to work continuously to change something, to improve, and then something good will come out of it. So I think winemakers are in that process. Now it's all the rest all around it that is sometimes moving slower, and including the customers, So it's chain of reaction, and we have to start somewhere. And the starting point is definitely what's happening in the vines with the winemakers. So I'm
Okay.
impressed. It's going to happen.
Now, the most high-profile sign, I guess, of some of the difficulties that Bordeaux is facing is the En-Primeur system. Although we know it represents a tiny proportion, actually, of the amount of wine which is being sold in Bordeaux, but still, it causes probably quite a lot of damage by the image of it right now. And I've chatted to you a little bit about this, and I think that it's really worth talking about where you see the En-Primeur system going, and I think you might have some ideas of how maybe it could work better.
Yeah, crazy ideas I have, of course, but I mean, let's face the reality. Each year, volumes are going down, prices are going down, interest is going down. So, I mean, we have to stop that and rethink the platform. I'm looking at what other regions are doing, Burgundy, Napa. I mean, there's a lot of great ideas around, and definitely I think that what I see coming from people is the need to gather, to celebrate, to be together. And I think I would like to find a way to mix that professional world, the B2B, what we call what's happening, the pros and the consumers into something which is celebrating the wine. Think about France. We don't have any wine day. We have a music day, music celebration. We have a lot of
Which we just had this weekend.
Which is
Fête de la
fantastic.
musique.
Yes, the music is fantastic, but we don't have anything national around celebrating the wine and making people together, cheering up in a good manner. And this is something I would like to find a way to rethink the approach and mix both in other celebration of the wine celebration. Something in June, something around Fête de la musique, Fête du vin, something cool, chill, where people are cheering up, and where you have more exclusive things in the great chateaus, which are not accessible for everybody. But we should find a way to rethink the approach, find a date, and getting something more to celebrate with.
Thank you. And you brought up there the basic idea of community, which is what wine has been based on for thousands of years, and yet maybe sometimes it gets lost today. And I know that you do quite a bit of things with community within Château Edmus. So what you mentioned briefly before, there's Club Edmus.
Yeah.
So if I'm right, the vast majority of your sales, you have to be a member of Club Edmus to get to buy the wine. Is that right?
Yeah, you're right. But I didn't mention that we're a very small winery, and we're more like a boutique winery than anything else. We produce less than 5,000 bottles a year. Great quality, organic, bioorganic. We're the first one to be B Corp certified. So we're working a lot on the wine, but I mean our size is what it is, and that's it. So we looked at what was happening in Burgundy, in Napa Valley, around the wine list, and say, hey, there's something cool to do about it. To engage deeper with our customers, let's get a club, and let's open the doors for them every year, once a year. We just had that last weekend, so usually it's mid-June. Everything we have food truck, we have conferences. This was on carbon footprint made by one of the key person working in En-Primeur and ICAM. That was fantastic. We cheer up, we test new wines. So this year we have our summer collection here with 3 new wines, even though we are a small winery, so I can't show that to you. But yes, it's there, it's this.
Thank you.
And that was my minute of promotion, but definitely, 3 more wines for a small winery as us. I mean, this is 600 bottles only. This is 1,200, 300. So, but that's what we do, and we like to gather our customers, share with them those new wines they can taste. We have the feedback straight away. You look at the face, everybody's polite usually when they taste your wine. They say, "Oh, it's good, thank you," right? Especially British people. Thank you for that. But,
You're welcome.
But the face doesn't lie. If you see people, yeah, okay, thank you. Which one you prefer, this one or this one? And then you have feedback, and then you can start to improve all the time. It's direct. So I think that's a good way to build a community. Digital is one thing. We have our WhatsApp group. We do a lot of things on social network, but we also need a physical thing, and gathering the people and opening the doors. All the doors is what we do, what we try to do.
It's interesting you should say that, because in a way, En-Primeur should fulfill that role in many ways, because you are getting people to Bordeaux who are giving feedback on the wines. I wonder what the disconnect is, that it doesn't then extend outwards to a bigger community of wine lovers. I mean, because the idea of getting people here, like a fashion week or, like Cannes Film Festival, in theory, that should work. So I wonder what's going wrong that it isn't working.
I think that was my 2 cents, is that this is probably stayed too much pro B2B event. And it's all about tasting the wine that was just harvested 6 months ago, which is not ready. So you have some pros need to taste it. People like you, they can have a sense, but what that one will be in 2 years, and that helps to give a price tag to it so people can start to buy it now and book it. But this is far from what people can buy right now. So even though you have 95 points, as we sometimes have, the wine is not ready. You can't buy it. So we took it the other way around. Now only a few pros can taste our wine in Primeur, but we don't sell it on Primeur. We sell it after
Yeah.
6 years. So this one, the Grand Cru, for example, we just released the 2018.
You're right. In fact, that in itself is an important point to make, that you're waiting to sell it to when it's already ready to be shared.
Yes.
And maybe thinking about this conversation we're having about Fashion Week or Cannes, they have the B2B of selling the wines. They might have the fashion editors sat in the front row, but all around outside, they have public events. There is the pop-ups on all along Cannes, or Nice or wherever, all around that part of the south of France. They have parties and events going on for the public, and that's also true of Fashion Week. So maybe that's where the disconnect is coming. Thank you. See, just speaking to you is making my brain go around thinking that could be that could be where that could be what they're missing. Exactly, that's what we need to work on. Now,
Yes.
It's now been a decade, more, maybe 15 years since you've actually started running a wine estate. What have been the biggest surprises? What have been the things that you absolutely did not expect?
I think that, the COVID, I would say COVID, but nobody expected COVID, so that's
No.
not a good answer. I think that we mentioned it's probably about the slow pace of things can move. I'm a very impatient person, so sometimes it's difficult to convince a lot of people to move around, and sometimes we just decide to go straight to it. So speed of execution and the risk taking part is something that also make people hesitant to change things, to have a different approach, to think differently, or to rethink what a Grand Cru is. That's what I try to be my mantra. But definitely, it's about taking risks. So we took some risks. Some stuff worked, some very much, some were totally failure. But that's okay, right? Let's continue and move on and share what we learn with others, so they don't repeat the same thing. For example, we made wine in tubes, right? That was not a big success. It was great success for tasting, but not for sales. But that's okay. We made it. We made de-alcoholized Grand Cru. We were the first one in Saint-Emilion removing the alcohol. So that was a huge success. So we explained how to do it, and we shared that with our neighbor, with others. And I think that's probably something we should deeper inside.
Did you? So you did some open source for de-alcoholized wine. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's collective effort. Wine is a collective effort. Us alone with our 5,000 bottles a year is just nothing. We do our piece. We're more avant-garde. We know that, but we do our piece. And then we try to get the others with us around, and that's good.
It's so interesting. I mean, if people are listening to this who do work in the wine industry, is there one? I mean, you probably have covered these, but is there one piece of advice that the tech industry just knows, just intuitively knows, that you think the wine industry should listen to?
I think be bold. Someone else said that, but be bold and don't be afraid. Just go and try things, improve things. We'll find out solutions. Listen to your customer, meet your customer, listen to them, and not only the wine critics or the sommelier. Just go down, serve your wine to real people who drink it. Look at their face, and then you understand. And talk to the younger generation. Look at the Z, X, Y generation, whatever. But educate them, share with them what you do, share your passion, and definitely something great will come out of it.
Thank you. Just two more questions. First question is this idea of thinking differently and not being afraid to be disruptive. Where do you see the fine wine industry, if we're thinking of this kind of this section of Bordeaux, where do you see it in 5 or 10 years' time?
I see lots of them moving into the right direction. I think if we want to define what's going to be a Grand Cru, in the next 10 years, this is what we're working on. We want to be on that, as an insider, this is where we want to be in 5 to 10 years. I think number one will have to be something which is what we call responsible. So you need to consider the environment around you. You need to work as clean as possible. You need to treat people well. And you need to take your responsibilities. You need to measure your carbon footprint. You need to understand what alcohol is, because you're selling alcohol, and alcohol has a great effect, and sometimes no. So you need to understand that and work on that. So that's number one thing. You need to be responsible. I think that I told you being bold and rethink what the Grand Cru is. Rethink, go down to the vines, go down to the cellar, the taste. I mean, current recipes don't work any longer. So rethink about that. Responsible and collective. Yes, involve people around you. This is not once again a one-man show, one-woman show. I started with that, but definitely this has to be something close to people's heart, mind. So open your doors. Don't be afraid. Meet people. Listen to them, but listen really and carefully. And then once again, something great will come out of it.
I first met with you at a startup event, and I was so struck and impressed with the way that you discussed this whole thing, your journey, but also the wider wine industry. So really, thank you so much for being here and for kind of sharing this. I want to keep it quick, this short, because I feel like I want people to really have something that they can take away and think about. So I want to finish with, at the beginning, you talked about falling in love with the idea of wine when you were tasting the grapes. You're with your grandfather in the vines. Yeah. I want to take it now to when you're experiencing wine, when you're drinking it. What are the times that you're the happiest, when you're just purely the pleasure of enjoying the wine? Have you got a place that you love? Maybe it's a restaurant or I don't know, or with some friends. What's your happy place when you're enjoying wine?
I'll answer in two things. My best tasting moment is in the cellar, when I have some people coming with me and we discover together something, we taste, and we figure out what it is, what we can improve it. And this is always a surprise. It's usually the wine that has probably 10, 12, 16 months, and definitely this is hard work. We see the first glimpse of what it could be. This is just a magical moment. And the other one, best moment for me ever, is, when I get a message from a customer who told me, I had your wine this weekend or yesterday evening. I was with my friend and we get on well, and we haven't talked since so many years, and now we became friends again. And this is I wanted to share that with you. I had sometimes this kind of message sometimes, and definitely this is what reminds me why I'm having this job now, and why I want to make people happy around wine. Wine is just facilitating, wine is important. It's facilitating human relationships. And when you get this kind of feedback, that makes my day, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was wonderful. And just great speaking to you as ever. And I hope to see you soon. And we're going to work on our off-Broadway events during En-Primeur.
Yes, we have something to crack there. Thanks, James.
Definitely. Okay, thank you. Take care. I'll speak to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you for joining us for that fascinating podcast. If you want to find out more, we'll have the show notes on janeanson.com, and let us know what you thought. Look forward to seeing you next time.